Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This will be a quick reading. I wanted to show cards that I pulled for the Ninetales spread. It's a spread from the Kitsune Oracle guidebook, and I keep some of the spreads that I like in this book. And then I use the Yokai Tarot for it. So I did pull out cards earlier, and I thought it was interesting um, with the cards that I got. I was thinking I would maybe pull the cards on video, but I was doing stuff here and there, mainly working, and I made other videos in the meantime. So, I figured that it would be okay to pull the cards and um, then I would share the ones that I got. So the spread is this one here, and I'll read it. So 1, my power at birth. 2, a power I developed in childhood. 3, a power that grew when I became a teenager. 4, a power I developed as an adult. 5, a power I have yet to develop. 6, a power I possess but am not aware of. 7, a power I possess but don't use. 8, a power I can use to help others. And 9, uh, the power I'll be remembered for. So for the first one, I would say this is one of my favorite representations of the Two of Swords. I have shown the Two of Swords in some of the videos. So it's definitely one of the more eerier ones that I've seen. I just feel like it makes the card really rich in meaning. So, um, my power at birth, and that's the first one. And this is an interesting one because this is a yokai that like sings or like lures you in with their voice, and then when you get close up to this yokai, you see that this is the yokai or the actual thing that you've been like communicating with. So, with this, the power at birth, it just seems like one of those things where, um, having that type of heightened sensory or even like, not knowing those types of situations and gradually, um, figuring those things out and even adapting and, um, seeing what goes on with that type of um part of your life. I do feel like it was a big part of my life growing up with that type of communication and um being able to build strength from that too. So I think that this one is a definitely a telling one. I didn't say this is really really random, but this is from TJ Maxx. I think I got it a couple years ago. I really love the big yolks, so I picked this one up. And my window is open. I'm happy that there's a lot of cool air coming in. There was a lot more because the um window was like all the way open, but this was one of the windiest days. And I take those opportunities whenever I can, even when it's not super cold. I still want to wear some type of uh item like winter garment. So, two, the power I developed in childhood. I feel like this really depicts like the rockiness of childhood. So this one is the Two of Wands, and it kind of felt like I feel like this card is really in general a blueprint card, and amongst other meanings. Um, when you have certain experiences, it really shapes the way that um maybe you see the world for a long time, and there could be things that you had to work through. Um, I had, I would say, a lot of things that I did that I taught myself. So I taught myself how to ride a bike, how to swim, for the most part, how to drive, which is not that safe because I really went in and started basically driving on the highway and just going all in. I guess the main thing, like towards the end, that my dad kind of helped me with, but I still uh got an instructor for that part was the parallel parking, but other than that, generally driving, I taught myself how to do that. So there were those different things, and maybe the type of influence and growing up in a strict household and even a household where um, it felt like, and even now that the rest of the family, they have so many things in common, they do all these things together, and I just wasn't compatible in that way growing up and even now. So I feel like that was something forming my own way of maybe doing things and thinking about things and really owning to how I follow through with my own moral compass and how I go throughout life and even certain healing processes. So because you want to live in the present but not have to react in a way where it's linking to the past. So, um, really interesting card for the second one. And it just kind of goes through the timeline with when going through these cards. So the third one, the power that grew when I became a teenager. So this is the Six of Wands, and it just feels like being more expressive and getting more comfortable. I remember, well, I kind of just, the more I grew, the more I just mixed random things together, and whatever I thought was like, wow, this is really cool, I just kind of put it wherever it fit. Like my room is super random and yet it is cohesive in its own way. So I feel like self expression was one of the biggest things and one of the most exciting things to do, especially maybe like outside of school because I went to Catholic elementary and high school where there were like um, uniforms, and then schools in general have dress codes, so we had our own type of dress code. And so I didn't mind having a uniform necessarily because it did help a lot, so you didn't have to think about what you had to wear every day. But just in general, I still shop at Hot Topic. It's like the main store that I go to every time I go to the mall. So um, I do feel like uh, it's a lot of fun and nostalgic things and different shows or things that I grew up with got grandfathered in. So now it's one of like the main type of shows or like memorabilia that they sell in Hot Topic, and it just feels like nonstop uh fun when I go in there. I really love it. But I do thrift a lot too, and I do feel like you get a lot of treasures with that. Um, I remember really cherishing the stuff that I bought, especially from Hot Topic, because as a teenager or even a preteen and growing up, and even now, like stuff in the mall, stuff in Hot Topic is really expensive. I think I um buy more fabric these days and I make more accessories, which has been fantastic. I've been really enjoying that. Um, but I do like when you really have to see what you want to get, and then it becomes like something that you, or for me, that is dear to you. So the next one, for the power I developed as an adult. I think that this one is super interesting, and like the spread in general is really interesting because this is the only major arcana card that I got, and I got the lovers. And as a Libra baby, I was like, oh, this is nice. Um, I had to see, well, I don't have to, but I'm kind of curious about the characters on there because I feel like I have an idea of what the characters or the yokai could be in this card, but it might not be. But in my head, and it could be anything that you want it to be anyway. Um, because it could be linked to the festival the that Japan has, where um, I think it was this guy god, and he had a daughter, and the daughter would weave for him, and um, he set her up with, like, I believe it's a prince, but I knew he had cows, like a cow herder. And then they fell in love, and then they stopped doing the things that the dad wanted them to do, so, or her dad. So his cattle were like, are they the same? Were scattered, and she stopped weaving because she would weave for her father, and he got angry and then separated them, and then they were upset. And then I believe it's like 7 7. Like they would be able to meet once a year. So it may be that one, it may be something completely different. I didn't read it, but I am curious about it. Let me see. Okay, so sounds about what I was thinking it is. So, Weaving Princess fell in love with Hikoboshi, literally Starboy. Her father, Tente, forbade her to cross the Milky Way to meet him as he worried she would abandon her duties for him. Moved by his daughter's tears, Tente subsequently allowed them to meet, but only once a year on the seventh day, on the seventh month, when a flock of magpies would make a bridge with their wings to reunite the couple. Episode speaks of unbridled desire, a longing for the other, but also refers to the sacrifice that must be made to establish meaningful connection. When making a choice, go with the heart, and even the heaviest of burdens will be worth bearing. That's romantic. Um, so I'm happy I got that one as a power I developed as an adult. I mean, I'm happy with like this spread in general. I just like think it's a really nice spread to do. So as I was saying, uh, being able to love and um, I would say like love in its purest form type of thing. And again, separating the things that I did maybe as a survival to certain situations. And I know that sounds dramatic, but the way that we see things, the way that we learn, especially growing up, there is a lot of uh, observing, especially with maybe how your parents interact, maybe interact with you, interact with each other, what they do when they're angry, what they do when they're happy, what they do when they show affection, if they do show affection, um, how they respond when you do something that they're not happy about. Um, and one of the things maybe to differentiate, like say this is different, but like my if the family dog like did something, not to have the type of treatment be like just stripping away maybe the love that they have as a punishment, but differentiating discipline from love in a way. Because just because you did something doesn't mean I love you less, type of thing. So that's like an example. Um, but it's learning those things and maybe seeing like those experiences that I've had that maybe other people have had. Um, Another thing that you think about, like, say, if you don't have children, and I understand, like, maybe some people are just like, why are you saying certain things like you don't even have children? But if somebody maybe gives you advice, and I'm not saying this is for like every situation, um, I may not have children, but I have experienced a type of parenting, and that's where my perspective is coming from. So there's different things that go into this like dynamic in lovers, and even um talking about the things that we strive for, and um having maybe patience for situations, and uh wanting some the relationship or like that type of dynamic or interaction that has substance to it. And it could even be with yourself too. um because some things like can be worth the wait. So there's a couple of different layers and a lot of layers that can go into this card. So 5 power, I have to yet power I have yet to develop, and I got the 7 of Cups. And with this one, it is kind of really um picking wisely in some cases, because again, with learning and seeing what has happened, um and sometimes we just, you know, think that maybe if I keep doing it like this, or um if I'm persistent enough, like there might be like an ebb and flow to it. um Sometimes stillness is okay, or whatever the situation is. This could go in different directions, but knowing when the cues are for your life, um, how you carry on, and um, there's times when it's good to be silent, because silence can be powerful. Um, Silence can be your charisma. It could really speak in its own way for me. And there's a lot that goes on with the 7 of Cups, because I just feel like my dog energy is in it too. And I'm sorry, this one's going all over the place. So maybe that's why it's like in, like, has yet to be developed. But there's a sense of, especially with different things in life, um, the dog's like loyalty, or just sticking to something in different areas of what I do. and something has to, like, the energy might have to shift sometimes, or there might be other things to prioritize instead of just waiting at the door and being so into this specific area. Um, so there are things to be said with the Seven of Cups, and maybe it's also like the Libra and the Scorpio, and even the Virgo, because my Virgo, I have Virgo rising. Most of my chart is in Scorpio, and I'm a Libra sun. So there's the Seven of Cups. Hopefully, there was a little bit of sensibility with that one. Um, and it is also, sorry, it's like, how long will it take for you to make certain decisions? Because I feel like, again, the Libra in me can go like on and on and on about like doing something in different ways or thinking about situations in different ways. Um, and Libra is technically an air sign, but it's also matters of the heart too. So, 6 is a power I possess, but I'm not aware of. So I got the 6 of coins, the 6 of pentacles, and I just think the whole spread is interesting, as I was saying, or as I've been saying. Um, I feel like one of the biggest things is that I can really do the things. I could really, I really feel like I can manage money well. But I tend to do it when not like last minute or like worst case scenario, but it tends to not be like in the forefront of things. Um, but I feel like I buckle in, like when I feel like I'm going to buckle in. But I think that it could be one of those things that could proceed me, and I really can maybe do more management, and even in a business or like freelancing or other types of setting that may relate to uh, having those personal relationships with finances, and even with health too, because the coins or the pentacles can be linked to that area. Um, and I would say that the lifestyle or the diet and lifestyle that I have, it's I don't think it's the worst, and I am happy that I make a lot at home. There is still sugar and things that go into it. Sometimes I switch it up with the substitutions, and I really try to do what I can with the recipes. Um, with like the given ingredients and like maybe the dietary or um other restrictions with allergies. So Also the type of maybe exercise I've been wanting to walk more and more because it's been cooler out, and um even a healthy uh just way of being, and it does go in different directions. So I feel like this one is a nice one. So 7 is the Page of Wands. And I feel like with maybe it being maybe like a rooster and yokai, and then um I feel like there could be the strong presence of doing something great with maybe something that I enjoy doing pretty frequently. I don't really take it more than something that's a necessity, like with making food or baking, or making crafts. I feel like it could link with the King of Pentacles, where it even um, in pharmacy, where it seems like you just want to do more. I think with like the medical things, I do make presentations, and that's part of what I do at the organization that I'm with. I mainly make medical presentations, and I am one of the hosts for the two medical clubs that are there. So, um, with other things, maybe there could be more to it, and taking it that step further and really letting the passions be an extension of yourself and seeing how it could carry through in life and develop into other successes and even learning experiences too, because it's important to experience those things, and maybe to experience loss or when something doesn't go according to plan, because I do like to change things up when I'm baking to see what can work, and then I think it is worth it to unlock those potentials and the tricks of the trade, and really leaning into that. uh, the price, there can be a price for the change, but it can be rewarding too. So 8, the power I could use to help others. And I got the Two of Pentacles. So I do feel like this is maybe like the resilience and adaptability and being able to keep going. I feel like at this point I have like a backbone of steel when it comes to certain things. Um, because life will try to knock you down, and then you get back up, and you keep fighting and like pushing forward. And then also with delegating things, even with stuff that you're familiar with, to help others. Of course, you don't need to tower over them, but um, sometimes people ask for help, and then a lot of times people are super happy or willing to do those things to make maybe the process more efficient or letting off some of the burden, especially when sometimes like those responsibilities can be a lot, as I was saying, and it would be good to lend a helping hand. So I think that's a really great card to have, especially with like the story that goes with this yokai of uh like kind of that slippery slope, and um he was able to accomplish this but wasn't able to accomplish that. So there could be that heaviness there and needing that type of assistance, or um another way of doing things, or even slowing down the pace can be an answer too, because sometimes when you work fast, it um maybe it's not necessary to work fast because there might be more mistakes, or toning or refining that energy so that it could be more of a focus, or I was going to say like a force, if you will, um, in the making of whatever process you're going through. So, nine, the power I'll be remembered for. And this one, I got the Nine of Wands. I also thought that this was interesting because it does give off like the wounded warrior type of archetype, where it's it keeps going and even healing while or in the midst of those things or what has happened, and there could have been a lot, but not letting down and not giving up. I think that's like one of the most important things in life, is that you just um it might take a while for maybe for you to get back up on your feet when something really damages you, and it feels like you might be just not willing or not wanting, or even might be burned so much to where it's painful to keep going. But um a lot of times maybe like you gradually recuperate as you move forward, but if you do have time, you might be able to rest a little bit here and there. But that's not really a lot of the case for the Nine of Wands a lot of the time, because there is that exhaustion, or like it kind of reminds me of like energy of being kept up all night trying to protect whatever you're protecting. And there's that sense of like determination, and in school there was like the topic of the power of grit, where something feels like you can't go on, or there's no reason, there isn't the feeling or the reason that you can go um, on the surface level when something like kind of tells you to keep going. So those were the cards. I'm really happy with the how with with how everything turned out. And I hope this was interesting. Um, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.